Joining me at this time is a private advisor to America's leading families, John Messervey. And he's in Florida right now attending private sessions, private meetings regarding the critical mineral supply chain, something that matters importantly to America's security, safety, and well-being. John, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Rick. Nice to be back.
So what's going on there in Virginia, Virginia, in Florida, uh, regarding the critical mineral supply chain and your presence there?
Well, we've just finished a 2-day meeting in Palm Beach with some leading figures out of DC and the administration. If there's two words that Americans don't want to hear, it's we're behind. And right now, we are behind in supply chain mechanics, in critical minerals, and certainly in aligning the national security needs of the country with the private sector, the manufacturing and producing sector of this country.
Um, what's the takeaway from this 2-day session?
We're behind, and this is an urgent matter all the way up to the president. President Trump has said we've got to do this. We've got to speed this up. And the speed up is this. Our adversaries are on the move, and they're not on the move where we're going to have a Pearl Harbor moment. It's a slow, long-term seduction of our basic economy, utilities, industrialized resources that we have, et cetera. And the world, by the way, is no longer, we're no longer protected by our borders and oceans. It's all moved to electronic and satellite. So, the average American today, God bless them, they probably don't think about this very much because they don't have to. The light switch goes on, the water is there, fresh water is available to them without their control. Health and data records are relatively secure, although I suspect they're highly compromised. So on the issues of cybersecurity and the issues of having basic food, water, and electricity, and I know this alarms people when we talk like this, but it doesn't take much to connect the dots and see how we're vulnerable in that position.
Where do you see the future being in terms of this improving at all?
Well, it's going to take a lot of work. There's a lot of really smart people working on it, and I happen to be aligned with many of them. That's a real privilege from my view because I spent my career advising families, high-performing families in America. And the best part of that is these families, family offices who have a lot invested in the country and globally, they get it, and they're looking for a place to connect. The president has offered 1.5 trillion up as a defense budget, and these are defensive measures. These are not offensive measures. These are defensive measures to protect world peace, and to really basically tell our allies we're behind you, and to tell our adversaries don't even try, don't even think about it. So what we're trying to do is to say let's bridge our work together. Let's get back in alignment together and support this effort to get critical minerals back into this country, basic manufacturing back into this country. We are on a global search with really two really wonderful companies. One of them is U.S. Strategic Metals. They're headquartered in Missouri. They've got an amazing amount of copper, cobalt, and nickel. They're operating also in with relationships in the Middle East and in Pakistan and in Australia and other places. First-rate operation. Another one in the satellite business is Phoenix Space. Phoenix is designing a new program to have rapid cadence launch of satellites, which we're going to need. Heavy launch right now in America is only in 4 or 5 places. Canaveral, Vandenberg, Boca Chica is Elon Musk, and then Wallops in Virginia, and maybe one in Alaska. All of those could be vulnerable to our adversaries. So those are some of the concerns that have been discussed here at this conference. We've been trying very hard to be optimistic and positive about it. We're Americans. We know how to solve problems. I'm just trying to aligning the forces that will be to support this, invest in these companies. There's so many out there right now that are doing amazing things, but just invest in them and let's just have peace through strength.
And you sort of touched upon where my next question was going to go, John. As a private advisor to America's leading families, as someone who was at this conference on the critical mineral supply chain issue problem that America is facing, it sounds like that perhaps you're getting some insight as to where the investment opportunities are at this.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm not here to push any one investment. I mean, there's so many out there, and we just need to open the doors to thinking about national security. I mean, if you really think about the top places to invest in the coming years, it's going to be in space, it's going to be in drones, it's going to be in satellites, it's going to be in critical minerals and supply chain. But the world got very small, Rick, and we are now moments away from someone turning out the lights, turning off the water, stopping our critical minerals. We need these minerals to make almost anything. And so let's start with just your phone. But from there, all the way up to an F-35 strike fighter. Oh, and these are the these are the minerals. I misclassed that, David. These are the minerals in the bottom of the periodic table that nobody really paid much attention to, but they are essential. And our adversaries, particularly China, control between 60 and 90% of the supply of all of that.
Wow. Wow.
Terrifying. Yeah, terrifying. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and they've made inroads in Africa and they've made inroads in South America. So I believe the current administration is on the right path, and I support this. However this works out in Greenland, I support Venezuela. I support kind of a Monroe Doctrine from 1790, I believe. But we need to be on our front foot. We cannot be on our back foot anymore. We have to be more alert, more aware, and more aggressive.
I tell you, John, I wish the president would communicate to the American people when he talks about going into Greenland the way you just communicated the situation.
Yeah.
Because I
Well,
believe, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, it's much more complicated than just critical minerals. It is you have to take a look at the globe from the top down and see the Arctic, which is melting. Antarctica is getting bigger, but larger in ice, but not the Arctic. And the Arctic has now got shipping lanes between Russia and China, between other countries, and also for missile defense, et cetera. I mean, there's only what 55,000 people that live in Nuuk, and UK, the capital. Technically, if you take out the Mercator map, Greenland looks huge on the Mercator scale, but it's really quite small. But leave Greenland out for a minute. I mean, the real action right now is in one of the most and this was in our conference this week in Palm Beach, the most resource centered place right now is Africa.
Hmm.
And the cobalt that's coming out of the Republic of Congo, we're going to be, as Americans, we're going to have to be involved in Africa. I think most Americans look at that and they say, oh, why would we go to Africa? We desperately need to be involved in Africa.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it really boils down to this. If we're not in Greenland, the Chinese and the Russians will be in Greenland. If we're not in Venezuela, as we already know, the Chinese are in Venezuela, the Russians are in Venezuela, the Cubans are in Venezuela. We slid so far back in the previous administration. They just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. So they're basically buying off, in my opinion, buying off governments. So the average American thinks that these countries kind of run like the United States. They don't run like that at all. They switch between socialism and dictators back and forth. So many companies that are there get confiscated, get corrupted. The world's a messy place. There's bribery is rampant. It's not called that. It's a permit. It's a fee. It's a license. No, it's a bribe. And so I know this sounds harsh, but that's the reality of the situation. And so, smart family, 3-generation families looking ahead in my world, advisory world, are saying we need to stop that because they're coming on. They're coming in. So that's really kind of the bottom line right now.
John Messervey, private advisor to America's leading families. I thank you for joining us from the conference there in Florida. Very, very insightful information that's not is broadcast in the media, but it's not explained in its key points the way you have done, and I appreciate
You have to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And I'm asking American business to do that. And they're on Channel 3. sometimes in Washington, they're on Channel 4. We've got to get on the right line. So, Rick, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Back with more after this.